It's easy to feel like our modern anxieties are deep political divides, this search for meaning, like it's all completely new, unique to us right now.
Yeah, like we're facing something unprecedented.
Exactly. But what if?
Huh.
What if I told you that a Russian novelist from the 19th century, someone who, let's not forget, faced a firing squad, got exiled to Siberia for years?
A brutal experience.
Unimaginably brutal. What if he actually understood the 21st century soul, maybe even better than we understand ourselves sometimes?
Okay, that's a bold claim. You're talking about Fyodor Dostoevsky, obviously.
Of course.
And for a lot of people, his name just brings up these huge, daunting books, right? Crime and Punishment, the brothers Karamazov.
Massive. Intimidating even.
Yeah, the immediate thought is often, oh, that dense, depressing Russian stuff. It's not usually linked with, practical advice for living today. Definitely not self-help.
And I think that's where we might miss the point. Fundamentally, we look for easy answers, maybe 5 steps to happiness. But Dostoevsky, he's offering something much deeper, something more like spiritual surgery.
Spiritual surgery, I like that. Explain.
Well, he just cuts right through everything, all the superficial stuff. He gets to the core of what it means to be human, exposing all the messy, contradictory, but also kind of beautiful truths we try so hard to ignore or explain away.
The things we don't want to look at.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to do a deep dive. We're going to try and distill some of his core wisdom into something really useful for you, living right now. We're calling it Dostoevsky's Guide to the Human Soul. 7 timeless lessons for the modern world.
Okay, intriguing. So this isn't your standard lit class lecture then?
Definitely not.
We're talking practical application. How do these, frankly, often difficult ideas actually apply to you right now? With social media, constant outrage, that background hum of existential dread we all feel sometimes?
I think that's the only way to really engage with him, honestly.
Huh?
He wasn't writing for academics. He was writing about the raw, messy, unfiltered experience of being human.
And that basic experience, it hasn't really changed, has it? Despite all the tech.
Not in its essence, no. His characters are wrestling with the exact same questions we are. Why do we suffer? What is freedom, really? How can we be good in a world that seems, well, broken?
Those timeless, universal questions.
Exactly. Okay, let's dive in. Lesson 1. And this one, right out of the gate, it pushes back hard against modern culture.
All right, I'm ready.
Lesson 1. Embrace suffering as a path to consciousness.
Okay, wait, embrace suffering. That sounds counterintuitive, to say the least. Like actively seek out pain.
I know. It sounds like he's saying go find misery, but that's not quite it.
Because our whole culture is built on the opposite, right? Avoid pain, maximize comfort, always.
Completely. We have apps for mindfulness to stop anxiety before it starts, endless entertainment to distract us.
Medications to numb anything uncomfortable.
It's all about avoidance. So, yeah, the big question is, why would Dostoevsky suggest embracing suffering? What's the value there?
What's he really getting at?
His argument, deep down, is that a life spent only avoiding pain, only seeking comfort, it stays shallow. It skims the surface.
Okay.
He sees suffering not just as bad luck, but as almost like a refining fire, a catalyst. It burns away illusions, our ego, our superficial concerns. It forces us, really forces us, to confront who we actually are when everything else is stripped away.
So it's less about the pain itself and more about what the pain reveals.
Exactly. It's the crucible. Think about Raskolnikov in Crime and Punishment.
The student murderer, a classic, deeply troubled character.
Right. Before the murder, he's totally lost his head. He's got these arrogant theories about being a Superman, above morality.
Living in this intellectual bubble, detached from real life, miserable, but in a theoretical way.
Yes, a stagnant intellectual misery, isolated. But after the murder, when he's thrown into the real gut-wrenching suffering of guilt, paranoia, isolation,
that's when something changes.
That's when his actual journey towards consciousness, towards self-awareness, truly begins. The suffering, as awful as it is what breaks him open. It's what, paradoxically, makes him human again. It shatters his pride.
So the suffering isn't the goal, it's the effect of the suffering. It's a tool, a really harsh tool, but maybe a necessary one for deep growth, like spiritual metabolism burning off the waste.
He would argue it's often the only tool for that kind of profound growth. He saw our modern obsession with comfort as well as robbing ourselves of the chance to become fully realized.
And he knew suffering firsthand, didn't he? The Siberia experience.
4 years in a labor camp. Unimaginable hardship. Yet he later said it saved his soul.
Saved his soul.
He felt it stripped away his youthful arrogance, his abstract ideas, and forced him to find something deeper, more real, The sheer physical and mental agony forced an inward turn.
Wow. Still, it's a tough pill to swallow. When I'm going through something hard, my first instinct isn't, oh, great, character development time.
Laughs gently. Of
Yeah.
course not. It's make it stop. That's
Oh.
human nature.
Exactly. Where's the exit?
And Dostoevsky gets that.
Yeah.
He's not saying seek out pain. He's saying when suffering inevitably finds you loss, failure, heartbreak, loneliness, whatever it is,
Which it will.
which it absolutely will,
Mhm.
don't just see it as an injustice or something to numb immediately. Recognize it as a moment of potential,
Mhm.
a profound opportunity. It's when we're raw, exposed, vulnerable.
Yeah, we're most open to change.
That's the idea. That's when the soul is most permeable.
Yeah.
So, the timeless takeaway here, don't just run from hardship. True self-knowledge isn't found lounging in comfort. It's forged in the fire.
Forged in the fire. Okay. That sets up an interesting tension because accepting suffering seems linked to accepting reality. Maybe accepting our limitations, but also our choices.
Precisely. Which leads us straight into lesson number 2, and it's a big one. Maybe his most famous philosophical contribution. True freedom is a terrifying burden.
Ah, yes. This comes from the Brothers Karamazov, doesn't it? The Grand Inquisitor chapter.
That's the one. An incredible piece of writing, almost a standalone story within the novel.
Remind us of the setup again. Jesus returns.
Jesus comes back to Earth right in the middle of the Spanish Inquisition in Seville. He performs a miracle, people recognize him, but he's immediately arrested by the Grand Inquisitor, this old, powerful cardinal.
And then the Inquisitor gives this long speech.
A chilling monologue, really. Jesus stays silent the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Inquisitor basically tells him, you made a huge mistake giving humanity free will.
Why? Why a mistake?
Because, the Inquisitor argues, people don't actually want it. They can't handle it. He says humans are weak, pathetic creatures, fundamentally unable to cope with the anxiety of choosing between good and evil, right and wrong.
The weight of responsibility is too much.
Exactly. What they truly crave, he says, is security, authority, someone, anyone, to take the awful burden of freedom off their shoulders. They'd rather be happy sheep than free, potentially suffering individuals.
Wow. And looking around today, that hits hard. It feels like we are constantly looking for ways to offload that burden.
Doesn't it? So the question becomes, who are the Grand Inquisitors today? Who do we give our freedom away to?
Well, political ideologies, for one. They offer simple answers, us versus them narratives. Takes the complexity out of thinking for yourself.
Tells you who to blame.
Right. And algorithms, they curate our reality, telling us what to see, what to buy, shaping our beliefs without us even realizing it sometimes.
Social media influencers selling lifestyles, pre-packaged identities.
Yeah. Anything to avoid the terrifying work of actually building your own values, your own meaning from the ground up. We outsource it.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
The Inquisitor says his church corrected Jesus' error by giving people miracle, mystery, and authority.
The things that bypass free, rational choice.
In exchange for freedom, they offer bread security, material comfort, and the illusion of happiness. And Dostoevsky saw that as the ultimate temptation, trading your soul for comfort.
It's the fundamental trade-off, then. This scary, anxiety-ridden freedom to create your own meaning versus the comfort of having it provided.
That's the choice he lays bare. And his insight is that most people, honestly, would choose comfort.
They choose the bread.
They choose the bread. But in doing so, he warns, they stop being fully human. To be human is to live in that tension, constantly choosing. Surrender that, and you just become part of the herd.
So how do we resist? How do we actually embrace this terrifying freedom in a world pushing us towards conformity? What does that look like day to day?
Well, first, I think it means recognizing the temptation itself, seeing it for what it is.
Being aware of the allure of easy answers.
Exactly. And cultivating a healthy suspicion of certainty. Anyone offering absolute answers, simple solutions to complex problems, be wary.
Whether it's a politician, an ideology, a guru.
Right. And it means accepting that doubt, anxiety, the possibility of being wrong.
Yeah.
These aren't flaws, they're features. They're the price of admission for a meaningful life.
The cost of being awake, maybe.
I think so. So the timeless takeaway. We constantly trade real freedom for the comfort of easy answers or belonging. Owning your choices, truly owning them, is the hardest and most important task you have.
And owning those choices means owning what's inside you, the good and the bad that influence those choices.
You're anticipating lesson 3 perfectly. Accepting that burden of freedom forces you to look inward, honestly. Lesson 3, acknowledge the angel and the demon within.
The duality of man, a classic theme, but Dostoevsky.
Oh.
He takes it to another level, doesn't he? It's not just good versus evil, it's messier.
So much messier. His characters aren't just good with flaws or bad with redeeming moments. They are walking, talking battlegrounds. Seriously.
Yeah.
Divine impulses, base urges, compassion, cruelty, they're all constantly wrestling inside in the same person, often at the same time.
It's not a neat separation.
Not at all. It's a perpetual, often agonizing internal war.
Can you give us a really potent example, someone who truly embodies this?
Oh, absolutely. Dmitry Karamazov.
Yeah.
From the brothers Karamazov again. On the surface, Dmitry is, well, he's a disaster.
Tuckle's understatement, maybe.
Right. He's violent, impulsive, driven by his senses, wastes money, gets into fights, seems utterly ruled by passion and pride. Looks like a brute.
Yeah, pretty much checks all the boxes for problematic. The demon seems strong in him.
But, and this is the Dostoevskian magic, at the same time, he has this incredibly deep, almost naive sense of honor, a profound capacity for spiritual insight, for shame, for yearning for good.
He's aware of his own flaws.
Deeply aware. He's the one who says that incredible line, "Beauty is a terrible and awful thing. Here the shores come together, here all contradictions live side by side." And then the key part, God and the devil are fighting there, and the battlefield is the heart of man.
Wow. He's describing his own inner reality.
Exactly. He knows he's this battlefield. He's not just a brute. He's a brute who understands his own brutishness, hates it, maybe even loves it in some way, and yearns for something better all at once.
That's stunningly complex, not just good or evil, but this tangled, contradictory knot.
And isn't that us? Seriously, think about it. We can feel incredible empathy, real generosity one moment.
Moved to tears by music or a story.
And then 5 minutes later, we're consumed by petty jealousy or road rage. Full-on selfishness.
Sighs.
Yeah.
Guilty. It's humbling, that switch.
And social media makes it worse, I think. It pushes us into these clean, curated boxes. You're good or bad, right or wrong.
No room for the messy truth that we're all a chaotic mix. Nuance is unwelcome.
Exactly. And Dostoevsky would warn us. Denying that messiness, pretending you're all angel and no demon, that's a kind of spiritual death.
Now so.
Because the moment you believe you're purely good, you lose humility. You stop watching the internal battlefield. And that's when the demon can sneak in, disguised as righteousness or certainty. That's when real evil can happen.
Believing you're above it all makes you vulnerable to it.
Precisely. So the lesson is profound. Stop trying to be perfect. Recognize your own capacity for both great good and great evil. Understanding that duality is the first step towards wisdom, towards compassion for yourself and others.
Accepting that internal complexity. It must make you wary of external systems that try to simplify everything, that try to impose a single logical order.
Exactly. You've nailed the transition to lesson 4. Because Dostoevsky was deeply suspicious of systems that ignored this messy human reality. Lesson 4. Beware the tyranny of pure logic.
Okay, again, this sounds a bit controversial. Logic is good, right? Reason helps us. Is he anti-reason?
Not anti-reason itself, but he was terrified of logic detached from humanity, from spirit, from compassion. He lived in an era, much like ours in some ways, that was obsessed with perfecting humanity through rational systems.
Like socialism, nihilism, utilitarianism, these grand isms.
Yes. These utopian ideals that believed you could engineer a perfect world through pure reason, often ignoring the irrational, spiritual, emotional side of being human.
The 19th century version of technocratic solutionism, maybe? Believing a perfect algorithm or system can fix everything.
That's a great parallel. And Dostoevsky saw this as incredibly dangerous. His novels are full of these men of ideas, intellectuals possessed by a theory, willing to sacrifice real people for their abstract system.
Logic becoming monstrous when it loses its heart.
Precisely. Raskolnikov is the prime example again. His logic for murder is internally consistent. Some people are extraordinary, others are lice. I am extraordinary, therefore I can kill a louse for the greater good.
It's logical, but based on a horrifying, dehumanizing premise.
Exactly. The logic works if you accept the insane premise. That's the danger. Logic detached from compassion, from love, from acknowledging the messy irrationality of life, it becomes a monster.
He explores this in Demons too, right? With the revolutionary group.
Oh, powerfully. In Demons, the revolutionary cell decides logically that to bind the group together and advance their utopian cause, they must murder one of their own members. Shokov.
A cold, calculated act.
Purely logical in their twisted framework, an act of pure evil born entirely from abstract ideology, detached from any human feeling.
And you see echoes of that today, don't you? People so in love with their ideology, their sazeness, that they completely dehumanize those who disagree.
Absolutely. On all sides, people become mere obstacles to the logically perfect world. They're not humans anymore, just deplorables or snowflakes or whatever label strips them of their individuality.
Reducing people to variables in an equation?
That's Dostoevsky's warning. Any system, any idea that does that is inherently tyrannical. He even said something incredibly radical.
What was that?
He said, if someone proved to me that Christ was outside the truth, and that in reality the truth were outside of Christ, then I should prefer to remain with Christ rather than with the truth.
Wow. So he's prioritizing
What?
love, compassion, even over objective cold truth.
I think so. Choosing the path of love and connection, even if it seems illogical, over a truth that is cold, heartless, and detached from human value.
A profound statement of priorities.
It really is. So the timeless takeaway. Be wary of ideas that sound perfect on paper, but ignore the messy, irrational spiritual reality of people. Always prioritize individual human dignity over grand theories.
Okay, so if pure logic, detached logic is the danger, what's the antidote, according to Dostoevsky? If not systems, then what?
Now we get to the very heart of his vision.
Yeah.
This leads directly to lesson 5. Redemption is found through active, compassionate love.
Active love. You mentioned Father Zosima defines this in the Brothers Karamazov. What's the difference between this active love and, well, just regular love, or passive love, as you called it?
Great question. Passive love for Dostoevsky is often just a feeling, a sentiment. It's loving humanity in the abstract from a distance. It feels good, but it doesn't cost you anything.
Like feeling sad about world hunger, but not actually doing anything, or, posting a supportive hashtag online, that kind of thing.
Exactly. It's love is a pleasant dream, a nice idea. But Father Zosima calls active love a harsh and dreadful thing compared with love and dreams.
Harsh and dreadful, why?
Because it's work. It demands sacrifice. It means showing up when it's difficult, inconvenient, unrewarding. It means loving actual people in their concrete, messy, often unlovable reality, not just the idea of them.
Dealing with their flaws, their needs, their irritating habits.
All of it. Engaging with the imperfection.
And Sonia Marmeladova from Bremen Punishment. She's the embodiment of this.
She is the embodiment. This young woman, forced into prostitution, living in poverty, every reason to be bitter, yet she's the moral core of the book.
And her reaction when Raskolnikov confesses his murder?
It's breathtaking. No judgment, no recoiling. She doesn't run. She just weeps for him. She kisses his feet. And then she says that incredible line.
We will go to suffer together. We will bear the cross together.
Yes. It's not just feeling sorry for him. It's an action, a promise, a commitment to share his burden, to walk with him through the consequences. It's her active love, that selfless empathy, that's the only thing strong enough to break through his pride and begin his healing.
It wasn't logic or argument that reached him. It was that pure active compassion.
Precisely. It shows how hard this kind of love is. It's easy to love an idea or someone's potential. It's incredibly hard to love the actual flawed person right in front of you, especially at their worst.
But Dostoevsky is saying that's the only love that truly counts, the only love that redeems.
That's his core message, I believe. True meaning isn't found in achievements or ideas, but in those small, concrete, often difficult acts of compassion. Visiting the sick friend, really listening to someone struggle, forgiving when it feels impossible.
Doing the work of love, not just feeling the feeling.
Exactly. So the takeaway, don't just feel love or compassion, do it. Real connection, real meaning comes from actively helping and serving others, especially when it's hard.
That focus on the specific individual, on concrete action over abstract ideas, it seems to connect to the next lesson you mentioned, something about a child's tears.
Yes, absolutely. Prioritizing active love for the individual leads directly to what might be his most devastating moral argument. Lesson 6. The tears of one child outweigh all grand theories.
Wow. Okay, that sounds like the ultimate challenge to any ideology that talks about the greater good.
It is the ultimate challenge. It comes, again, from the brothers Karamazov. Ivan, the intellectual brother, is challenging Alyosha, the devout one.
The problem of evil again.
Exactly. Ivan says he can maybe accept God, but he cannot accept the world God created if its harmony requires the suffering of even one innocent child.
Focuses on the most vulnerable.
And he's brutal about it. He doesn't talk abstractly. He recounts horrific, real-life stories of child abuse, a child tortured by parents, a boy torn apart by dogs for throwing a stone. Sickening details.
Making the suffering undeniable, visceral.
Unbearable. And then he poses the killer question. He asks Alyosha, imagine you're building the perfect world, ultimate happiness for everyone. But to achieve it, you have to torture just one tiny child to death and build your paradise on that child's unavenged tears. Would you agree to be the architect?
And the answer just has to be no. instantly, morally, intuitively.
Yeah.
No.
Of course not. And with that one question, Dostoevsky just demolishes any ideology that says the ends justify the means, that a future utopia justifies present suffering.
Like communism, utilitarianism, any break a few eggs philosophy.
He says, if one of those eggs is an innocent child, your whole grand omelet is morally rotten, built on a crime that can never be justified or redeemed.
It's the ultimate check on our own beliefs then. If my ideology, my party, my grand plan requires or permits innocent suffering,
Then your plan is wrong. Period. Full stop. It's a radical call for empathy at the most individual level. Forget statistics, forget grand narratives, look at the single suffering human being in front of you.
their pain outweighs any theory about the future.
That's the argument. It's uncomfortable. It demands we prioritize the immediate, tangible person over abstract ideals.
It forces a kind of ethical confrontation.
Absolutely. The timeless takeaway. Never lose sight of the individual human cost of your beliefs or actions. The smallest, most personal injustice invalidates the grandest theory.
Okay, so we've embraced suffering, faced the terror of freedom, acknowledged our inner contradictions, become wary of pure logic, committed to active love, and prioritize the individual tear. Where does that leave us? What holds it all together?
That leads us perfectly to the final, crucial lesson. After tearing down false comforts and easy answers, what foundation remains? Lesson 7. The soul withers without faith in something.
Okay, now Dostoevsky was deeply Christian, so for him this meant faith in God. But how does this apply universally? What about people who aren't religious? Is he saying you must believe in God?
I think it's deeper, more psychological than just specific religious doctrine, though that was clearly his anchor. You can read his work through a Christian lens, absolutely. But you can also see it as profound existential psychology,
Meaning?
meaning he shows again and again that the human spirit cannot survive in a vacuum. A life based only on reason, cynicism, self-interest. It leads to despair, to meaninglessness, to self-destruction.
So even without traditional religion, we need something more, something to believe in.
Yes, his novels are full of characters who believe in nothing beyond themselves, and they end tragically. Sudrigайлov in Crime and Punishment lives for pleasure, ends in suicide from sheer emptiness and boredom. Skavrgin in Demons, the ultimate nihilist, finds meaning in nothing, hangs himself.
They lack an anchor.
Precisely. The soul needs a higher value, something transcendent, to orient itself, something to live for beyond just existing.
So if not God, what can that something be for a secular person today?
It could be many things, I think. Anything that calls you beyond your own ego. For Dostoevsky, it was God, love, beauty. Today, maybe the fierce commitment to justice or equality. Maybe it's the profound power of art or music. Maybe a deep connection to nature.
Or maybe that active love we talked about, faith in the power of human connection itself.
Absolutely. Faith in the possibility of redemption through helping others. It's about finding something you hold sacred, a guiding principle, a value you're willing to live for, maybe even suffer for.
So faith here means commitment to a core value, something bigger than your immediate self.
That's how I read it in a universal sense. This something, whatever it is for you, is what makes suffering bearable. It gives life resilience. It's the anchor in the storm. Without it, the soul just drifts into meaninglessness.
Into the abyss he portrays so chillingly.
Exactly. So Dostoevsky's final urgent message is, you must choose what you will serve. If you don't consciously choose a higher value, you'll end up serving a lower one. By default, your ego, your appetites, your despair.
A conscious choice is required.
It is the timeless takeaway. You must find what is sacred to you. Without connecting to something you deem greater than yourself, life loses its meaning and its strength.
Wow. That's quite a journey through Dostoevsky's world. 7 heavy but incredibly relevant lessons.
They really are. Just to recap quickly, embrace suffering for growth, bear the burden of freedom, own your inner contradictions, beware detached logic, practice active love, value the individual tear above all theories, and find something sacred to have faith in.
It's not a roadmap to easy happiness, is it? It's more like a guide to living a deeper, more meaningful, perhaps more difficult, but ultimately more human life.
That's exactly it. He doesn't promise happiness, he promises meaning. And in our world, which often offers endless distractions and comforts, but leaves us feeling empty.
His wisdom feels more necessary than ever.
I truly believe so.
Yeah.
He reminds us we're not machines to be optimized. We're profound, messy, contradictory beings. And our glory isn't in escaping that mess, but in wrestling with it.
Wrestling with the angel and the demon within, it brings us back to the Grand Inquisitor, too. His offer of security for freedom. It's still out there.
Oh, absolutely. He's still with us. He just lives in our phones now, maybe, and the algorithms offering easy answers.
Yeah, he lives in our phones and our politics and the quick fixes, and definitely in the fearful parts of our own hearts that just want the anxiety to stop.
So, the question Dostoevsky leaves hanging in the air for you is, who will you listen to? Will you take the Inquisitor's deal, the comfort, the security, the belonging? Or will you choose the other path? The terrifying, beautiful, difficult, but ultimately meaningful path of being truly consciously human.
Living with the burden and the beauty.
Exactly. Something to wrestle with. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, play the questions.